Okay, let's rewind for a second because there was a time not that long ago when women were told that getting healthy meant living on coffee and cabbage soup or doing some kind of like liquid cleanse that made you hate like everyone around you, right? That was considered discipline. It was considered willpower. And if it didn't work, the assumption was that you were the problem. Thankfully, we've come a long way since then, but here we are in 2026. And once again, women, especially women over 40, are right in the middle of another health revolution. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard of GLP medications. Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro, Zepbound, and you've probably also heard a lot of opinions about them, right? Like a lot. From social media, from celebrities, from, people who have never been through menopause, but somehow have really strong feelings about it. So today we're going to slow the conversation way down. So no hype here, no fear mongering, no judgment, just facts, context, and support. So why this matters, especially in midlife. So GLP-1 medications, they didn't just like come out of nowhere. This is not a new and shiny thing, right? Weight loss medications have existed for nearly a century, but nothing compares to this class of drugs in terms of effectiveness, the demand, and the controversy. So to put this into perspective, in 2018, Americans spent about $27 billion on weight loss related medications. And by 2023, that number actually skyrocketed to over $135 billion. About 1 in 8 Americans has tried a GLP medication, and among people with type 2 diabetes or prediabetes, that number jumps closer to like 4 in 10. But here's the part that matters most for this particular series, okay? Women in perimenopause and menopause are one of the fastest growing groups using these medications. And honestly, it makes sense because this is the phase of life where weight suddenly feels harder to manage, hunger and fullness cues change, blood sugar becomes more reactive, inflammation increases, sleep quality drops, and the old eat less, move more advice, it just stops working altogether. So whether you're curious, skeptical, or already taking a GLP-1 or feeling conflicted about them, this conversation is unavoidable. So I want to talk about what this series is and what it isn't. Okay, so over the next 5 days, I'm not here to tell you that GLP-1s are a miracle fix, or that they're cheating, or that everyone should be on them, or that no one should be on them, for that matter. That black and white thinking is exactly what's hurting women right now. So instead, this series is about understanding, because the truth that a lot of people miss is that GLP-1 medications, they do not replace lifestyle work. They change the environment your body is operating in. And when you understand how they work, especially during menopause, you can make better decisions for your health, your body, and your future. So before we go any further, I want to briefly introduce myself because context does matter. My name is Chelsea Wright, and I work with women, primarily women over 40, who feel stuck in their bodies despite doing all the right things. And I specialize in strength, metabolic health, and medical adjacent wellness coaching, which means that I don't just look at workouts or calories in isolation. I look at the whole picture. The hormones, blood sugar, stress, recovery, inflammation, and how all of that changes during perimenopause and menopause. And a big part of my work is helping women understand what's actually happening inside their body so that they can stop blaming themselves and start making decisions that make sense for this phase of life. And I want to be really clear, okay? I'm not here to diagnose, prescribe, or tell anyone what medication they should take. But what I do help women with is navigating these conversations with clarity so they can advocate for themselves, they can ask better questions, and build a foundation that supports their health long term. And that's why this GLP-1 conversation matters so much. So I want to ground this conversation because the way GLP-1s are talked about online can feel brutal. So this series is rooted in three things: not rules, not expectations, just a way to navigate this topic without turning on yourself. Okay. So the first one is compassion. If you're struggling with weight, appetite, cravings, energy, or your body's just not responding the way it used to, that does not mean that you failed. Okay. Menopause changes how your body regulates your hunger, your blood sugar, your fat storage, stress hormones, and recovery. And so for a lot of women, the frustration isn't about vanity. It's about feeling like you're doing everything right and still not seeing those results. So if a GLP-1 medications have come up on your radar, whether, you're considering them or already taking one, or maybe you're unsure how you feel about them, you deserve some support and not shame. And so this conversation starts with understanding, not judgment. Secondly is curiosity. So instead of asking, like, should I take this or not, a better question might be, what is my body asking for right now? And so curiosity allows you to zoom out and ask, like, what has changed in your body over the last few years? Where do you feel stuck? What's felt unsustainable in the past? And what are you actually hoping will feel different? So you don't need to decide any of that today. You don't need to have all the answers, but that curiosity, it gives you space to explore without the pressure. Okay. And the third thing is critical thinking. There is a lot of noise around GLP-1 medications, some strong opinions, some extreme takes, before and after photos with zero context. And so critical thinking means slowing down the conversation and asking, like, what does the science actually say? How does this interact with, what's going on with my physiology? What are the real benefits? What are the trade-offs? And how does this fit into a long-term health plan, not just short-term weight loss, like lifestyle change? And so GLP medications aren't meant to be like a moral issue. They're a health tool, and tools definitely need context. So before tomorrow, I want you to reflect on this. What do you currently believe about GLP-1 medications? Where did that belief come from? And does it actually account for what happens to a woman's body during menopause? Because tomorrow we're going to break down what GLP and GLP hormones actually do, why these medications work, and why menopause changes this entire conversation. So you don't need a biochemistry degree to show up. We're just going to give you clarity, and I will see you in day 2.